Hello, everyone. I'm Lorie Cahill, President of ROC Association and your Mountain West Director, and welcome to the ROC Association 2020 Regional Session. We'd like to first thank our sponsors and also ROC USA for making it possible for us to come together online for this event. We also want to thank each of you for your participation. You are on our minds during this difficult and stressful time, and always. We sincerely hope that your families are well, and our hearts go out to those who have suffered losses during this time, and we want you to know that we're there for you. We must remain strong in our mission of Better Together by being there for our communities, members, and supporting them in getting through this. We are excited to be here, and we're excited to be here with you today, and we recognize you for the many efforts that you have put forth in making your communities safe, secure, and beautiful places to live. Let's talk a little bit about ROC Association. What are we, and what does ROC Association mean? ROC Association was formed in 2013. The association's membership includes every ROC that has been supported by a ROC USA affiliate. Reaching back to 1984 in New Hampshire and beginning in 2008 outside of New Hampshire. There are 3 directors for ROC Association, and they are split up into regions. Kim Capen for our New England region, Marjory Gilsrud for our Midwest region, and myself, Lorie Cahill, for Mountain West region. Elected by boards of ROCs in their region. They serve 3-year terms in a 2-term limit. We represent each of our communities in our region on the ROC USA board. As directors, we participate in all travel to ROC USA board meetings, and that's 4 times a year. Usually 3 are in Washington, D.C., and 1 is virtual, although all are virtual this year. Our role is to give other directors and community members a voice at the table. Things like what's happening in our communities, what are our needs, our accomplishments, our strategies and goals, as well as helping with governance. We also spend time connecting with community leaders across the country, helping them to meet their challenges and encouraging engagement and leadership, as well as recognizing needs and also accomplishments. We raise your voices up nationwide at events, on the radio, and in newspaper. We're always warmly welcomed and supported by all ROC board members, working with ROC USA and all of you in our mission to preserve affordable housing. Has truly been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. It is my sincere hope that if you are considering stepping up to this great opportunity, that you run for it in your next election. We need you. We need you. And I promise you, I am better for it. There is nothing better than helping this movement drive forward nationally. My term ends on 12/31/20. So the West region is up this year. Next year will be the New England region. And then in 2022, the Midwest will be up for election. I also want to touch on a topic of peer support. On one of our last calls, Kim made a statement that caught my attention, and I wanted to share it with you. He said, "Self-reliance is a slow path to successful governance and problem solving." This rang true for me in the beginnings of my leadership experience. For some, after some, I'll call it maturity, or maturing in my leadership role, I learned to acknowledge the expertise of everyone who lives in a ROC, my own community leaders and my neighboring ROC members, both near and across the country. The peer support I have had across the board has largely been responsible for the successes seen by our communities across the country. We are always better together. Please stay engaged, meet other leaders, reach out, and problem solve together. It really works, and you'll make new friends. Take care, everyone, and thank you for all you do to make resident ownership work.
Thank you, Lorie. So Marge, if you just want to highlight your what you have to offer us today, that would be great.
Okay. Today we have, we're going to go over some of the resources. We're going to go over some of the resources. We have a couple of bucket lists with 3 buckets that we want to put items in that Kim will discuss a little bit more. And about peer support. Yeah, and so I too, like Kim said, I just want to thank everybody for showing up, and wish Lorie could have been here in person, but glad she could do a little video for us. So how can we support each other, and how can you participate? Since the last ROI, we have developed 2 committees that people express interest in and have stepped forward to join. The first one is the Outreach and Education Committee, and the other is the Policy and Advocacy Committee. If either of these interests you, please let us know, and we're happy to have you get involved. Also, if you have neighboring ROCs in your area, get to know them, build the relationship, because we are all experts and can help each other. You could join the board if there's openings, or even volunteer. We like volunteers. And I don't know what happened. Oh, there we go. Sorry. And what are some of the resources? Like I had mentioned up above, or just a minute ago, the neighboring ROCs. If you're lucky and you have a ROC in your area, build that relationship, get to know them, maybe do some events together. Also, your TA providers. Our TA providers are a real lifeline for us. They can help us in educating us on how to do things we need to do as boards and as community members, and how to have good board function, help with finding property managers and planning and completing projects, how to plan your budgets, and many more things. They inspire us to learn and grow with other communities by holding regional trainings, and often they're there to help you figure out a tough situation. They can be a true friend in educating us to become the best we can be for our communities. And let's talk about the ROC Association Director. And being we have a former one on here, she should be well aware of this part, but I just started my 3-year term on January 1st of this year. So my meeting time has been all virtual, and being we've been unable to travel. But there's nothing better than representing ROCs nationwide. There's something about being a ROC Association Director and bringing your voices to the table to find ways, sorry, I apologize, to keep your ROC strong and moving forward. That really completes a person and has a passion for our mission to not only preserve affordable housing, but to make it better together for our families and our futures. It is exciting to meet new people and travel to great places, to care deeply for all our communities, and to be ever mindful of the importance of our position and how we represent our ROCs to others. I'm learning how to take the next step. I had no experience of being a leader. I did have a passion for the ROC model and for people living in them. Without you, there would be no us. You are our greatest asset. My greatest experience so far happened just a few weeks ago. Kim, Lorie, and I met with Paul and looked over the Better Together grants. And we had got 29 grants, and 2 of them were incomplete. So we had awarded 27 grants over $50,000. And we chose to call the winners in person and share with them the good news. And their happiness was so heartfelt. And we were then able to ask them how they were doing in their communities. And that's what I needed. Personally, I've been going through a funk with my PTSD caused by some of this COVID-19 stuff. And by just reaching out and sharing the good news with them and just being able to talk, it brought me out of that funk, and it just helped me mentally so much. And I just wanted to thank you guys for helping me. And for that, I say thank you. And so the importance of peer support. Chances are that someone has been through what you're going through. And we don't need to recreate the wheel. And they can be there for support or be that sounding board. You don't have to feel alone. And the Outreach and Education Committee is working and helping others, be it a new ROC or someone thinking of becoming a ROC. We are looking at helping TA providers, being that firsthand experience and what it is to be a ROC, helping answer questions. We want to help at regional events by getting involved and helping them if we can. And every region has regional events. Ask your TA providers when yours is. With COVID-19, yours may be postponed or held virtual this year. Attending regional events is a great way to meet others in our region and to learn. And then there's RLI. RLI is where people across the United States, all living in a ROC USA community, come together to network and to learn. This year is virtual, but we're resilient and we will get through this. We are better together. And there's also the myrocusa.org. Please sign up and encourage others to do the same. Here you can get up-to-date current information and what is happening in our communities. Blogs from Paul Bradley and the ROC Association directors. Here you can find discounts and communicate with other ROC leaders and much, much more.
All set?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't following your script. So anyway, I just want to welcome Natividad, Beth, and Mike to our RLI. There's 3 of you, so I'm not going to follow my script too closely, but closely enough so you'll get the gist of things. What you understand, what you've probably figured out is that there's a great emphasis on better together. There's a greater emphasis from the theme of this this talk, this conversation around how we can take advantage of the vast amount of information that is within our own communities. You know, I liken it to the fact that we, if we took collectively, there are thousands of years of experience with over 37 years of ROC communities in our country. There's thousands of years of experience, and I dare say that perhaps we qualify for doctorates in about every aspect of management of our cooperatives. You know, the message is the doctor is in. And so take advantage and listen to the doctor. The doctor, we have met the doctor and they is us. So that's going to be the theme of what we're going to talk about for today, is that there's a vast amount of experience. And as Lorie had mentioned, I had mentioned at one time that, you know, it's not the fastest way to solving a problem is to acknowledge the vast array of experience there is out there and to take advantage of it. My experience in my own community and with other ROC leaders, I've sort of boiled it down to the fact that there's basically 3 buckets of all the things that we have to deal with. The 3 buckets are people, which is probably the more difficult and the one that has the most in the bucket. The next one is community maintenance, community and maintenance. And the last one is governance. You know, with people, you know, we're constantly dealing with rules violations, board members behaving badly, bickering neighbors, rumor mill, and all this disrupts the unity of community. These disruptions of the community hinder all of our efforts at getting volunteers. You know, I would dare say that whenever we ask, what's the biggest problem you face in your community, the overwhelming majority of the time, the number one thing is volunteers. And getting volunteers is it's a way of getting volunteers is all about the atmosphere you present. Nobody volunteers unless they feel like there's something in it for them. It isn't monetary, but when they realize that it's the social activities, it's the interaction with others, that volunteering is a comprehensive effort at creating community. And once you create community, it automatically brings you volunteers. But in any case, that's one of the buckets that we'll spend a fair amount of time on. Next bucket is community maintenance. I have to say that you know, there's infrastructure issues that we face. There's common area landscaping. There's clubhouse care. This is an area where most of the issues are larger issues and therefore the big ticket items. And the biggest issue we face here is we really can't afford to do a lot of the things that are these big ticket items. And so there's a great deal of information out there and a great deal of people who have dealt with learning how to apply for grants and getting support as it relates to taking care of the larger issues that are, you know, water issues, septic issues, or sewage issues, underground utilities, road maintenance, trees. These are all large ticket items. A lot of them have to be paid for out of our capital fund, but you know, I remember when we first started as a community, we didn't have any money in our capital fund. And right away we had 3 leach fields, 2 septic systems fail. And we wouldn't have made it. We'd have had to get a loan, but we made it because we had some help from our TA providers in terms of how to go about getting a grant. We ended up getting a grant for $250,000, which pretty much saved us from a loan we couldn't afford. So there's the experience out there will help us. The experience that we have amongst each other about how we go about getting things done as it relates to especially funding is out there, and it's within our own community. There's over 260 communities under our umbrella, and 260 communities with probably an average average number of homes of somewhere around 80 to 90. So that's 160 to 200 households or volunteers in each of those. There's a wide, and thinking about that, there's all of these folks have jobs, and some of those jobs are related to some of the things we're trying to do. So they have a vast array of knowledge on how best to accomplish a lot of things that we need to accomplish. So we want to be the catalyst. We did a while back, Natividad will recall this, that we had peer calls. They came every other month. We had some problems with it, and that it was not very well attended. And one of the things that makes something like this successful is attendance, because that's where you have the vast array of knowledge that you can deal with. So that can deal with the solutions, problems that we have, or issues that we have, challenges that we have. So in any case, we started those. They didn't last. They lasted for about a year and a half. It got down to there was 8 or 10 folks in the meetings. The problems that people were bringing to the table may not have been addressed well, because the experience was not very vast. With only 8 or 10 folks, there may not have been anybody there who'd actually even gone through what the issue was. So they weren't very successful. We want to try it again, and we think that through being able to do it virtually, with folks being able to see each other, almost like being in a room, probably more like Hollywood Squares, but in any case, you get to see the person you're talking to, and we think that would add a dimension that would help folks to make a decision to be there. It would make it easier to interact. And so we want to start it up again. We want to start it up in September. One of the biggest reasons we want, one of the things that we want to change with it is that we want to be able to be more spontaneous with dealing with the issues that people are facing. If the topic is one in November that you had last February, it's not doing you any good. So we want to be able to set some time aside when people are going through an issue, they can tune into that month's Better Together call and get the benefit of some of the folks' experience with that. Now, one of the key things is with this time around is that we're gonna have to do a much better job of communicating it. And that's where we all come in, and making sure that the communities that are around us, the seminars or any of the things that we go, the regional trainings or anything that we go to, we talk about this because it's important that it's well attended, and it's important that it's available when you have an issue that you want to need to deal with, and you have the benefit of enough experience where you'll get the answers that you're looking for. So so this time around, we think we've set up a format that would deal with with 1 or 2 items that are in our buckets, but also spend a great deal of time just dealing with an issue that somebody may have been going through, heard about this monthly call and said, what have I got to lose? Let me make that, let me get on that virtual call and see what can be offered through the leadership in the ROC community. So anyway, that's our plan. Our plan is to start these calls up in September. What we'd like from you is just a brainstorm, some of the topics that you think would be important that we tackle in these three areas: people, community maintenance, and governance. Whatever you're facing will fit in one of these boxes, and if it doesn't, we'll fit it in there. But the fact is that we want to know what's most on people's minds, what some of the common problems that we're facing, and tackle those in our first meeting in September. And Marjory will talk a little bit about the first meeting in September. We're going to try to do them monthly. We want you to talk it up around anything that you ever go to. People saying, I have this problem, what about you? Have you tried joining the call You can email the directors and they'll put you on the agenda if that's the case, or they'll put the item that you think is important to all of us, or maybe it just could be yourself, on the agenda. But in any case, if you're going through an experience now, you want to deal with it now, this is an opportunity to at least get another perspective on how best to handle things. So in any case, I welcome, first of all, I welcome your feedback on this as something that you would be interested in or not interested in. And any thoughts you have on how we better promote it, communicate it, and get it out to folks. Any feedback there?
I'm excited that you're going to do this again. So
Yes.
count me in.
Good, good.
I'll help however you need me to help. I always like to be able to do that on this end. So yeah, I think that's great. I think doing the virtual one would probably be able to get more people involved, because it is always nice to see each other, since, you know, we all know each other. We're all friends for many years, and just talking on the phone makes it like not as personable. So this
Right.
might help a lot, Kim. I think that's a great idea.
I hope it does. I hope it does. Beth or Mike, any thoughts?
I'm really enjoying Zoom meetings, with whether it's with Pastone or you folks. I've been doing all sorts of board meetings by Zoom and stuff, and or with Ring Central. I think it's a great asset, and I was late. I'm sorry, we had a very late board meeting today, this morning.
No problem, no
Glad you
problem.
joined us.
We're just glad you're here. In terms of the topics you'd like to see tackled, I know Kate had the whiteboard up there. Any suggestions or thoughts about things you'd like to see tackled in terms of things that you might feel are ongoing in your own community, or something you'd like to see a bit more emphasis on, or conversations on it as it relates to these Better Together calls?
Community maintenance, I think that's always ongoing. Mr. Bill reached out to me via email. They're getting ready to do some infrastructure, and he wanted to chat a little bit about how that whole process happened. I mean,
Yep.
as far as what did you do when this part happened, and what did you do when this part happened? You know, I slept in the office while they were spraying in the lining for each row of sewer line, and then went to work the next day, you know, which was 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then turned around and got up at 4:30 and went to work. So those kinds of things, you know, they don't tell you that's going to happen when you're doing your infrastructure. They don't tell you that somebody out of the blue is going to say, is there any way someone could stay on site till we're done with this row, so we can tell everyone to turn on their water or flush their toilet. That particular time was to flush their toilet. So he reached out via email. So if you were doing this virtual, you could have 10, 15 people online, and probably 5 of them are probably doing infrastructure right now, or
Right.
would have been hypothetically. So yeah, doing any type of maintenance ongoing. How do you repair fencing? How do you get grant funding to do a whole line of $30,000 worth of fence? You know,
Yeah.
there's
Grant funding is a big one.
yeah, tree maintenance, you name it, you've got it.
Storm shelter.
A storm shelter. How did you go about getting financing for a storm shelter? That's really big everywhere. And
That
might
is a
not
big
be
one.
okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yep, you're part of the country.
In our part of the country, and anywhere else it would be flooding, you know, those types of things, or major snowstorms. How did you guys fare out? Was that Boston area that got hit with big snow, and they had to have those giant bulldozers come and dig them out? I can't remember which community that was. It was pretty bad. So how did they incorporate getting the giant bulldozers to clear a path for people to get in and out? Oh my gosh, you could go on with community maintenance. How to
You
hire an
could.
on-site manager.
Yep.
And what would be the word? Manage them, so to speak.
Manager outside or on-site manager,
Yeah,
managing the manager.
yeah, because they could, they could get on a free-for-all with a badge. Sometimes that happens. We've been pretty lucky. That would be a great session to have at any type of RLI or a community session that we do, like say at North Country Foundation. So, or anywhere
Yeah,
else.
ROI, Kate just put in there, has a session on that as well.
Yeah, see that. That's awesome. That's great. How to manage your on-site manager. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
In addition
Absolutely.
to, yeah, perfect. That'd be great.
Anything on governance issues?
Can I speak a moment?
Yes.
Okay, up on community maintenance, we're putting in a new trailer and it's quite a nightmare. I'm trying to figure out a codes and if you have to have a certified person to do things and all that kind of stuff. I didn't really know where to guide. We're New York, so we've been going to that New York Manufactured Home Association, asking some questions there, but it's like I didn't even know where to start because we have one person say this, one person say that. Some guidance there. Going back up to people, I don't know if it's too late to get in that, but what about I noticed in the handout it was talking about board members behaving badly, but a little bit help on getting board transparency, accountability, and board policy in place. I think we have some issues there.
Yeah, very important topic. I've even in my own community, we went through some really tough times as it relates to communication and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
It's, there's a lot of things that you can do, but by every, nothing ever. I mean, we had a rule that if there was ever, you couldn't have. We have 9 board members.
Yeah, we do too.
And we would never allow 5 board members to be together at the same time.
What do you mean?
It was called a board meeting, and board meetings have to be noticed,
Oh, okay.
and everybody has to be able to be, and the public has to be there unless it's an executive session. And you'd be surprised how many times, things happen in the community and nobody knows anything about them because they're done with a select few board members. And no one knows about it. And it's the simplest of things, but I can tell you that I've gone through enough experience with that to understand that everything has to be out in the open. It's just a good policy, and it's a good practice, and it eliminates much of the rumor mill as well, because everybody owns the community. And so everybody needs to be aware of what's going on in the community other than the things that are considered executive session material.
Yeah, I didn't know if that should go there or governance. I wasn't quite sure where you wanted that.
It probably should be, it could be in both places.
It can be, yes.
Yeah.
It can be.
Because that is part of your board governance.
It is.
There you go. I think that's a good space to have it in both places.
And
Yep.
then with the property manager, knowing what the board's rights are versus them, and how do I put that?
Well, what everybody needs to understand is in a community like this, the residents own the community, and
Right.
they have representatives. They have representatives in the way of boards to manage everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as far as the board is your representative to managing everything. Your management company is not the boss.
Yeah, and how do you take care of it if they are with certain board members?
That seems to be a big issue, Kim, in quite a few places. I've heard, like, I think probably 3 this year, where the management company has actually taken over the
Yeah,
community
well,
situation, and
they only have authority that the board gives them.
that's the problem, though, Kim, is the management company has gotten so controlling, then the board doesn't know how to get out because it's one board member that is allowing that situation to happen.
Oh
it's
boy, you
usually-
hit that one. You hit
That's
that one nail on
usually
the head.
your president who does that, and it just, and now it's two people. It's a board member and a management company, and technically it's really the person who's running the management company for you.
The thing is
now
that,
taking over your community.
board members need to understand what their authority is.
Yeah, and they don't.
And their authority is no less than no one board member has more authority than the other.
That's right.
Nah, see, I tried bringing that up and thinking that more than one person needs training in how the park runs. And I got shot down that the president and the property manager, if anything ever happens to the president, then I'll learn.
That's so true. That's when you will find
And
out.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's really sad. That's what
Yeah.
they think. It amazes me every day. Had we not taken that governance class, Kim, man, what an eye opener that was to see.
Yeah, the bottom line is that the board is a group of folks that have equal authority. And so if your management company is overstepping its bounds, then any board member should be able to bring that up as a topic, and the majority vote and bring it to a vote. If you have a weak board who says, I'm not going to go against the authority of the president, then you're going to have a continual problem. But if everybody's living up to their responsibilities as a board member to think on their own and act on as an individual, then you won't have a problem. But a lot of the problems stem from a board member exercising authority over everyone, and that's a whole different problem. That's a problem.
Can we go into people and add the relationship between board members and your TA or CTAP providers?
Yeah.
You would have to say TA provider or CTAP, because they call them CTAP somewhere else and they call them TAs somewhere else. There you go.
Yeah.
This seems to be a problem, and it has been for a long-standing time, where I'm not going to listen to what my TA provider, and who the heck do they think they are, tell me what to do. And then the board goes rogue away from their TA provider and runs their own community. We do have a community here that's doing that right now. It has been for many years. But
yeah, I shouldn't say it's not an uncommon. I mean, it does happen that you have folks who don't want to recognize the expertise of the CTAP, not authority, expertise.
right.
And that's where the issue is, that they deal with multiples of cooperatives and have dealt with a lot of the issues, and in many cases have the best answer for a lot of the situations, but they don't have authority over you. So you take advantage of that as opposed to taking advantage of what they know.
Very good.
I think sometimes it's just a lot of it has to do with whoever the person is on the board, or the people on the board, and how they feel about, I always call it the badge issue. As soon as I give you a badge that says you're the manager, that doesn't mean I give you the badge to say you take over the world and it's your control issue. And you see that even in a regular job, so now you're the team leader at a regular job, and holy cow, I just, like, they get these big heads and then they just go wild, and I've seen it over the years that I've been doing this for 10 years now. And Kim, you probably have more experience than me. How long have you been a community? I forget.
Say that again?
How long have you been a community?
We've been a community for coming up on 15 years.
Yeah, so you've got a lot more experience than I do, but from the time that I have had, you see that a lot where it's that, I don't know, big-headed mentality. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah, I do this. I say, good leaders are great servants.
That's so true.
You're here to serve. That's the bottom line. I tell new board members, as a board, we are here to serve the community. This community is owned by everyone who lives here, not by you. So you're here to serve their best interest.
Right. I totally agree with you.
And that's the way I look at it. You know, I'm here to encourage every board member to be their best. I'm here to, when they mistake, not to chastise them, but to show them a better way. I'm their servant as well. But that's the divide. I'm now the leader of this group, or I'm now the servant of the community. I think if you put on that hat of servant of the community, you'll do a much better job of leading the community.
Always, yeah. It's a good call. It's a great practice, and it's a matter if that one person will take that.
Just
I have
put everything
another
into perspective.
Yeah, that is a good perspective. I like that. How about, I don't know if this goes in people or governance,
Say it
but
again?
I don't know if this would go in people or governance, but working with, well, one would be working with vendors. Secondly, that would probably be maintenance, maybe, right?
Yeah, that would be maintenance.
Okay. And then the second one would be how to work with government officials. Take that first step. You want to do that? Where would you do that?
Probably
I would do that under governance.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because that's learning how to become an advocate for your community.
yeah. I think it's be aware. It's an awareness of what your community needs from the government. And so, you know, now you can be an advocate for what those needs are.
Right.
And that's learning how to work with government officials.
Kate, I think where the blue line is under management company, there needs to be a the after when the.
I'll clean the stuff like that up later, Natividad. I just don't want to stop this for that.
Okay. Being awareness of what your community needs. And that's all levels from city all the way up. So I know that at some of the past RLIs, some of the people did recognize the fact that they said, I don't like my city officials, so I don't work with them. But if you needed some help, and it had to be on the city side of things, you need to be friends with your city officials. So that was one of the things that got brought up at past RLIs. I'm not working with them. I refuse.
Yeah, well, the old saying goes, don't fight City Hall.
No.
You
no.
can't win.
The only way you're going to win is to run to be the mayor.
Yeah. Get along, because that's the easiest path to success.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I just talked to my city mayor yesterday because we need some help to get our lots ready. Our company that we used has now closed, and the person retired, is my understanding. So we're stuck right now.
Mm.
Yeah,
Anything
I'm sorry.
else? Go ahead. I'm trying to think of anything else.
Well, I was gonna say on the maintenance is getting now we're having trouble. Part of it's COVID. But getting people to do simple things like skirting and steps for a new home. And it's like, I've reached out to people for references. I've called everybody I can find on the internet, and there's not much else. And I even went as far as to trying to see if we could get somebody within our park to become certified, so we would know what kind of specs and stuff we need on certain things. And then I finally found out that that can't happen, because you got to have too many years experience, and our people here don't. So getting the vendors to do that has been very difficult.
Yeah, it is. And you'll find that at different times of the years, it's easier.
Yeah.
In the heavy construction times of the year, your contractors are too busy for small jobs. And if they do tackle a small job, they charge an arm and a leg because they can.
Right.
So it's always good to line up contractors, you know, with a, I know you can't do it now, but when can you do it, and sort of try to hold them to it. But you're gonna get real early spring or really late fall where you're gonna get all your small jobs done, because they're winding down all their big jobs. That's been my experience.
Yeah, I'm getting a list started of the people I've been calling who might sound like they might be somebody we could use. And so at least we have something here on file.
Yep. Persistence.
Mm-hmm.
We have to add somewhere in here any type of pandemic. It doesn't even matter that it's just COVID. I mean, we could have a flu outbreak. So where do you put that, and how do you word that to where, how to be proactive versus reactive when you have a situation that we're all in right now?
Governance.
And with that also, the ability to be able to communicate with your members if you can't go up to their door and talk to them.
Right. That would be communication, the whole thing of it. You know, there's communication, and we're using the mail for everything right now. Even though they're right here, we're still using the mail.
We're looking into One Call Now and trying to get that going.
Because this, you know, it doesn't say that this couldn't happen again, because it could.
Yeah.
It could, like like I said, even with just a flu.
Mm-hmm.
How to be ready. Policies for such things.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Do
Yeah.
you have a policy as it relates to what to do in this particular instance? As an example, we have well, we call it a comfort center because it can't be deemed anything else. But we take one of our clubhouses. It has a generator, and everyone knows that if we lose power, the red flag is out, and it says the comfort center is manned. And we've had to house people there before with cots and put on meals for them because we'd lost power for a week at a time. So there's a policy specific for that, and I think it's important that there is a policy regarding, well, particularly your part of the country, where you have a lot of hurricane warnings and the like. That there is a policy that everybody understands and has and knows exactly. This is what we put in motion when this happens.
Right. We just had to create a policy for when to open the shelter, because they're knocking at my door when it's just raining. And it's just, you know, we're not going to just open the storm shelter because it's raining, but anything could happen. And so we just did that, and we'll be doing a vote on that on Tuesday just to make sure it's correct. But
Good.
How to open the storm shelter, how to get the keys out there. What's a good way to have keys out there without people going nuts?
Who does what, when?
Yeah, and it's just been, you know, my daughter and myself were both gone, and there was 2 board members here, one who doesn't drive and the other one who just said, okay, I'll get my shoes on. And the last time we had a possible tornado, and my 18-year-old teenage granddaughter had to go open the storm shelter. We had no idea of how that worked. So it was a mess. I was 2 hours away. My daughter was an hour away. It was just a horrible mess. So we are in control of it now. And it can be anywhere for any type of disaster. How do you control all of that and find out the things until it happens, right? So we've got quite a few policies, a rent policy for the COVID. So you need that type of thing. Who knew? So.
Are you guys combining all this information and giving it to us? Or, I mean, there's some great points I see here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, these are, this is also the basis for our first calls, what we want to tackle
Okay.
in September.
One of the things that we talk about every once in a great while, Kim, is an evacuation plan. Our state requires them if you do not have a storm shelter. I don't know what other states do, but an evacuation plan includes your phone numbers to call for your power, your gas, your fire department, your police and everything. And it gives a complete plan of where you're supposed to go when something happens. So an evacuation plan was like people said, wow, what is that? I remember this at some of our RLIs, only they were CLIs at the time. Early on, that people had never even heard of it. Well, what do we need one in our state for? Well, do you flood? Yeah. Okay. What would you do if you knew a flood was coming and you were in manufactured housing? So, you know, an evacuation plan setup should be in every community, no matter what, because it can have great information for whatever is needed.
How do you find out what your state has? You said your state had to have one. How do I find out what New York has in place?
You can call your attorney general for
Okay.
one to start with, and go with that, and then see if there is anything else. And you can even Google it for your state.
Okay.
And if you have a housing, Marjory, what do you call that? Like NAMOA or APAC.
State Homeowners Association.
Yes. Yeah. If you have a homeowners association somewhere for manufactured housing.
Thank you.
Okay, we're getting, we've chewed up the better part of an hour. Pretty quickly, actually.
Meeting.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us. This has been a very good open discussion regarding issues that we might be able to tackle. We'll see that that somehow we get all of these published for folks. Anything else, Marjory?
Yeah, just a reminder that that first meeting will be on September 5th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 Central, 10 Mountain, and 9 Pacific. And then we're planning on the first Saturday of every month, but the first one is September 5th.
Now, I came in out of that. What exactly are you talking about?
We're talking about, Beth, we talked about the fact that we're instituting monthly calls
Okay, I got it. Okay.
to go over some of the issues that people face and to be able to work together at solving helping each other solve challenges that we have.
Kim, on that, does everybody have to have a ROC account to attend that? Well, I'm asking because I have some members that have no internet or email, and like some of the other things like the Ring Central, board meetings and stuff, I like sit there and have them share it with me because they don't have internet or a computer.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have a problem with people sharing
Okay.
at all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, all they have to do is be a member of the community and
Okay.
they're in.
Is that going to be via email like it used to be in the past?
It'll be an email. It'll be on our ROC. It'll be on the ROC, myrocusa.org, under association news,
Okay.
probably as a blog. We're pushing TA providers to promote it. I mean, we're not going to be able to communicate it too much. Any which way we can, we're going to promote it. But the best way is for us in our own communities to get people involved. But we want as many communities as possible as well. That's why the invitation is going to go to anybody who has attended any of these RLI sessions and every board president. So the invitation will be out there, and hopefully we'll get enough takers where we have lots of expertise in the room. Anything else?
We could go on all day.
We could, yeah, in the interest of time.
So when you folks send out that invitation, you folks who get them can forward them to other people. They're not limited to the people who were invited.
Yeah.
So remember that you can share that, whether it's sharing a computer or sharing the invitation. And you're all going to get on SurveyMonkey after this. If you wouldn't mind filling it out and letting us know what you think worked and didn't work about the session, that would be really great.
There was no food.
You know, Natividad, if I could make there be food and drinks for everyone, I definitely would.
And no t-shirt.
No, there are t-shirts for anyone who attends a session. That's part of why we're taking attendance. You gave your t-shirt size and your mailing address when you signed up, and we are going to be sending out t-shirts when all the sessions are finished, because we're going to order them all at once.
That's really, Kim, why I came today, because I needed a t-shirt.
You needed your t-shirt.
Another one.
Another one. Yes.
Yeah, really.
I love
Great.
this one. This one that Marjorie's showing in the background. I wear it a lot.
Yep, and I have this one on.
Oh, yeah.
Rock
Yep.
solid. That was my last one. Yeah.
The long sleeve ones with the rock
The
pack.
blue one. Yeah.
People love the t-shirts. We wanted to make sure people got t-shirts.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's great. So I will be on the next class on the 19th.
I got the refinancing one. I can't wait.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. I think we'll be coming up on refinancing like sometime soon. So it'd be nice to hear about it.
Right.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.